Kia ora team, and welcome to Big Boys Boxing, where we're all about exactly that. The big boys. With big knockouts. And the big fights. So let's get into this. What's going on, team? Welcome back to Big Boys Boxing for today's weekend review of what happened with who and how. As per usual, there will be a link dropped in the live chat. I'll just do that now. Just gotta boosh. There it is, for anybody who might like to jump on and give their opinion. Pin that shizzle to the top, so it's there for anybody. Don't get lost in the comments. Get over to Discord and jump into that voice channel myself. Boosh, we are in. Make sure my mic is activated. It's all good. Yep, we sweet. So, where shall we start? I guess from the start. There was two cards on at the same time, being the Tony Yoka Takam card. And there was also the Diego Pacheco and Jack Cullen card on at the same time as well. So I was skipping between cards. I didn't actually catch the Pacheco-Cullen fight. That was when Takam and Yoka were actually fighting, as far as I know. So, but I did catch the Johnny Fisher fight on that card. He was fighting that Diamani guy, Italian fella, who actually did a bit better than most expected, including myself. And it was a bit of a soft stoppage in the fourth round. No doubt Johnny Fisher was winning the fight. He won every round pretty convincingly. He got Diamani in the corner, threw a few shots. He was still defending himself, but he got caught with a cup on the ref, stepped in and stopped it. So that was a bit shit, really. But you get that with some of these lower level fights, I guess. It's about time we've seen Johnny Fisher step up a little bit. I'd like to see him beat the snot out of Steve Robinson, to be honest. But maybe something more realistic. I don't think Steve Robinson will be keen on that fight, to be honest, because he knows you get the snot beaten out of him. So maybe the guy who beat Steve Robinson, Shane Gill, maybe Johnny Fisher v Shane Gill would be a decent step up, and see how he goes against someone who's gonna come to win. Shane Gill's got a fair few white collar fights under his belt, but not a lot in the way of professional fights. So yeah, I reckon that's a good matchup for Johnny Fisher. He gets the fourth round stoppage against this Diamani dude, and that's the end of that. But like I say, I haven't seen the Jack Cullen v Diego Pacheco fight yet, but Pacheco did get a stoppage in the fourth round. So yeah, it was to be expected that he was going to win that fight, probably by stoppage. Diego Pacheco's looking pretty good, so be interested to see how he gets on. Got Phil Carl Roberts in the chat. Welcome, bro. Hope you're well. I haven't added up our scores for this week yet, but I'll get onto that today. And myself and Hannah will do those scores. I add them up, send him my results, and he checks them. So try and avoid mistakes, but we'll get that sorted. hopefully this afternoon the scores will be up, and then I'll start looking into next weekend. I haven't even really looked into next weekend much yet, but that's the Big Boys Boxing Prediction League I'm talking about. If you're interested at all, there's going to be a new season start after March, so you get into it if you're keen. The link to the Big Boys Discord server is in the description. You can get over there, get involved. We got lots of stuff going on over there, man. I'm good, thanks, says Phil. Hope you are doing good. Yeah, man, I'm all good. I had a pretty good weekend with boxing betting. I made about $100 and only spent 10, so yeah, I'm happy today. Steven also in the house, bro. Good to see ya. Wizard Sleeve also here. Good on you, man. Good to see y'all in. Alright, so the Carlos Takam v Tony Yoka fight. I had picked Tony Yoka for a later stoppage, but Tony Yoka, dude's got to hang him up, I think, man. He's not the same fighter he was. He got beaten quite convincingly by a 42-year-old Carlos Takam. Outboxed him, outvolumed him. Nothing Tony Yoka threw hurt old Carlos Takam, the wily old dog. So big congratulations to Carlos Takam. He's breathed another breath into his career. So he's knocked off the 2016 controversial gold medalist for the Olympics, and yeah, he's got another payday or two in line still at 42 years old. Good for him, man. Tony Yoka though, ever since he come back from that suspension by the French authorities for missing drug tests, he hasn't been the same, and particularly you could see his heart wasn't in it after that beating Martin Bakole gave him. He hasn't been in the ring since, and now it's all over for Tony Yoka. Yeah, he started off his pro career fighting decent level competition, was doing pretty well. Then he missed those drug tests, didn't want to go outside of France, because even under that suspension by the French authority, he could have gone and fought elsewhere under another license, but he chose to hang around in France and do squat. He's got that ESPN or Top Rank hookup. There's a big stable of fighters over there. He could have been keeping busy working on his craft, but he chose not to, and man, I just think it's all over for him. It's done for Tony Yoka. So that's that, man. That's that. It's a shame. Tony Yoka had some potential. Many had suspicions about his chin and his heart, even in the amateurs. But in this fight, he just didn't put out enough volume. He didn't put enough out to deter Tony Yoka. I think I gave Yoka 2 rounds. Now, there was some controversy with the scoring. I'm going to just go and look the scores up. But this is a consistent thing with Tony Yoka in France. Even against Martin Bakole, one of the judges gave the damn fight a draw or something. And Tony Yoka got the snot beaten out of him in that fight. And even the 2 judges who gave it to Martin Bakole had it closer than it should have been. So, just give me a sec here. Find these scores. I was actually in a fight party with Hannibal and the Techophobe at the time watching it, and I was saying to them, look, they're gonna try and rob it. I'll bet you it'll be 116. No, sorry, because it was only a 10-round fight. I bet you it'll be like 96, 94, 97, 93, when really it should have been 98, 92 or 91 to 99 in favour of Takam. So here we go. Got the scores finally. Oh, they don't have the judges' scores up yet. So the judges, the fans gave it 101 to 108. How the fudge? It was only a 10-round fight, man. Oh no, it was 12. No, they've got 11 rounds here. What the fuck? Boxrec have messed that up, man. There was no round 11. No, I can't check those scores. But I'm sure one of them... Yeah, one of them gave it to Tony Yoka. Oh no, I'm looking at something else here. What am I looking at? This ain't the right fight. That's Dan Aziz. How the hell did I get to that? What the hell? Ah, I went to the event, not the scores. There we go. So yeah, it was a split decision. Unfreaking believable. They tried to rob old Takam. Here we go. Here's the scores. It's looking at Dan Aziz and the Thomas Ferrer fight. Okay, here we go. So the fans gave it 91-99 to Takam, how it should be. One judge gave it 94-96 to Takam. Two of them 94-96 to Takam. And they've got three of them 90. Oh no, one of them gave it 96-94 to Yoka. Unfucking believable. So they were trying to rob him, man. One of them was anyway. I gotta say, all of them were trying to rob him, because there's no way in hell Tony Yoka won 4 rounds in that fight. Hell to the no, no, no. Yeah, it was a split decision, Phil Carl Roberts says. Disgraceful judges, yeah, man, absolutely. And it's always the thing with Tony Yoka in France. It's always that way. So I can understand to a degree why Tony Yoka wants to fight in France if that's the case, but it's real dishonest. Did Yoka surrender? Pretty much from about round 3. You could see that he was, now and then he'd throw a 1-2 and land it, and then he'd just run away for a while. It's like he didn't know what to do, or he didn't know how to get the respect from Takam. Takam did as usual, you know, head down, throw body shots up and down and up, winging right hands over the top, left hooks in there, just the volume and the pressure. Tony Yoka just seemed disinterested, and yeah, it was pretty stink to watch actually. It wasn't an interesting fight because Tony Yoka just made it boring because he was so disinterested. He didn't look like he wanted to win. Now I know both of these guys are friends, and if you're in the ring and you're fighting somebody, they're not your friend while they're in the ring. So you got to try and hurt that man, but he just didn't seem to want to, or he was scared to throw more than the 1-2 because he was worried about what was coming back. And Takam ain't a big puncher. He's a volume and pressure guy. But you know, lingering in the back of his mind how badly Martin Bacoli beat the living snot out of him, maybe. Dude's broken in the head. Judges were against him. In his own backyard. It's shocking. Well, yeah. Don't forget, Takam isn't originally from France, though. Well, I think Tony Yoka isn't originally from France either, if I'm right. I think he's born in Morocco or some shit. Let's have a look. Have they got those details on Boxrec? We're about to find out. Tony Yoka. Nationality French. Residence France. Okay, no, he was born in France. I think he's got Moroccan heritage or something though. But yeah, Carlos Takam is Cameroonian initially. Let's see. Was he born in Cameroon? They've got Takam's residence as he lives in the States now anyway. Henderson, Nevada. Okay. And his birthplace was Douala, Cameroon. So he's apparently officially not a Frenchman anymore. But he was a French resident. He probably still has French residency if he wants it. So there's a little bit of useless information for y'all. What else we got in here? Saying hi to each other. Triple B, what's good? Says Blackout, good to see you, man. So yeah, Carlos Takam moves on. Like I say, he gets another couple of paydays after taking out the 2016 heavyweight gold medalist. And good for him. He gets another couple paydays. So big ups to Carlos Takam. So that was all there was in the morning, well, New Zealand morning anyway, that I was interested in. But what else we got? We got the Tim Sue and Tony Harrison card. I was pissed off. Didn't get to see most of the undercard. Showtime showed half of the Paulo Acuso the what's his name Gonzalez fight, and then the main event. Now people who are subscribed to Showtime are accustomed to seeing a full boxing card in the American evening on Saturday nights, but they showed some dumbass movie and then they put talking shit about fucking Plant Benavidez and Garcia v Davis, talking that shit for the first half of the Paulo Acuso fight before they put the second half of that on. Acuso was looking good. He did put Gonzalez down in the second half. I think it was the 7th or something like that. He was beating the snot out of him. Kid looks good. Gonzalez was considerably bigger than him, but he didn't get the stoppage. And you know, Sean Porter on the commentary was saying he needs to get the stoppage to make a statement here and blah 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 blah. Don't forget, before that fight, Paulo Acuso had only had 3 professional fights, and he's fighting a world level gatekeeper, well, even contender really, at light heavyweight. So I think he won every round, but let me just check. Paulo Acuso was a Tokyo Olympian. Can't remember if he medaled or not off the top of my head, but I remember watching him in the Olympics. So he got a 10-round unanimous decision over, how do we say this? Yaneski Gonzalez, I think that's how you say it. Yaneski Gonzalez, who was 21-5. He'd been in the ring with some pretty decent opponents. Just let me refresh my memory here. Yaneski Gonzalez. So he'd shared the ring with Andre Durrell. He lost that via TKO in the last round, 10 of 10. He'd also been in there with Gilberto Ramirez, old Zerdo. He lost that in the 10th round of 12 by stoppage. Tommy Carpansi he'd been in there with as well. He beat him by a second round KO. Who else of note? Alex Theorem, don't know the dude. Oh, that's about all worth mentioning for now. But Gonzalez had been in the ring with a few decent guys, and he was taking on Paulo Acuso, who at the time, like I said, had only had 3 professional fights, man. And he'd already had his third fight was a 10-rounder, his second fight was a 10-rounder, his first professional fight was an 8-rounder. So yeah, I was really looking forward to watching this whole fight, and I was pissed off Showtime didn't show the whole thing, man. Absolutely pissed. I guess it shows that they're pinching their pennies and they're struggling over there at Showtime. Not surprised with not being able to make big fights and, you know, only showing fights from PBC Isolation Island. I mean shit. And then now they're talking about showing Errol Spence and Keith Thurman at this dumb catchweight. It shouldn't even be a freaking title fight. Showtime's going down the tube at the moment, man. Loma is going to have to start fast. He can't let the first 4 rounds go against Haney. Yeah, I agree. It's going to be an interesting fight when we get to see that, man. I'm looking forward to that one. So, it is what it is. Only thing that beats Loma is size. Well, size can count against guys if they're not quick enough. I mean, Devin Haney's pretty quick, but Loma's got pretty decent footwork if he gets inside. I imagine Haney's going to try and tie him up a lot, but we'll see what happens. What referee they get's gonna impact a lot on how that fight goes. But anyways, back to the main. Well, I have a quick look through what else happened on that Tim Sue card. There was one fight there that I know was kind of an upset. Oh, actually, there was one on Dara Foley beat that other guy too. I hear it was an ankle injury. I didn't see it. But that was one of the. I took Dara Foley for the win, paying like $4.50 or something in one of my multis. I only took a treble. Took Paulo Acuso for the win and Tim Sue for the knockout in the second half. That paid well. I think it was paying 8-1 or something. So that was my main earner for the weekend. But anyways, so Sam Goodman, that was another fight I wouldn't have minded seeing. He got a 10-round unanimous decision over TJ. What's his name? Doheny. 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 I don't know. Haven't seen him do before. 23-3. That was a super bantamweight fight, so wasn't super interested in that one, but I did have him in one of my bets. Sam Goodman gets the UD win. Isaac Hardman was actually a favourite against Ryan Murdoch. I picked Ryan Murdoch to win this fight. I did pick a stoppage. I've seen Isaac Hardman when he gets hurt. He gets stopped. He's got stopped once. Was it Mark McSo? No, who was it? Down we go. Oh no, it was Michael Zarafa. That's right, Michael Zarafa knocked him out in 2 rounds. Beat the shit out of him. So yeah, I'd picked Mahoney in that fight, and he comes through with the win. Does Rowan Mahoney. He moves on and upwards. He moves on to 27-2. I'm not going to go into their record. It's another fairly small fellas. Oh no, they're not that small. Super middleweight. What else do we have here? Cohen Mazudia and Ben Mahoney ended up a draw. So it's another one I'm pissed off that I didn't get to see. That was a super welterweight fight. I'd watched Cohen Mazudia, I think it might have been his last fight, and I bet against him, but he comes through and beat somebody that he wasn't really supposed to beat. Let's have a look who it was. Oh, it was Wade Ryan. Yeah, he wasn't supposed to beat Wade Ryan, but he did. He beat him unanimously over 8 rounds. Wade Ryan looked a bit despondent after the first couple of rounds. He couldn't hurt Mazudia. So, yeah, they've got a potential rematch happening between Cohen Mazudia and Ben Mahoney. What else was on here? Okay. Don't know who these dudes were, so I won't even bother mentioning. Oh, there was Nikita Zhu on there actually as well. Nikita Zhu, 4-0. He was in a 6-rounder against this Bo Belbin. I didn't know who this Bo Belbin was, but to be expected. Having a record of 1-0, so he hadn't really fought anybody, but Nikita Zhu kind of took a look in the first round. I have seen some highlights for this one. Kind of took a look in the first round, stepped into his jab a bit more in the second and third round, and he got a knockout win. I believe it was in the 4th. Yeah, I think it was the 4th. It doesn't say on BoxRec here, it just says TKO win in a 6-rounder. So they haven't fully finished the results on here yet, actually. They haven't even got the result for the main event. So the main event, we'll get into that. Tim Tszyu. And a big acid test in a fight which he didn't have to take, as he was already mandatory for Jamal Charlo. Taking on former WBC champion and Tony Harrison, the only man who has beaten Jamal Charlo, the undisputed 154 champion. Big ups to Tony Harrison for taking this fight going down to Australia, but I don't think he did enough homework on what he was facing. You know, I think he just looked at the Terrell Gausha fight where Tim Tszyu got knocked down. But I think Tim Tszyu won every other round in that fight. I'm going to have a quick look at that, because a lot of people make a big deal about that knockdown. Shit happens sometimes in boxing, but if you won every other round besides the round you got knocked down in, it's just one of those things. Whereas if you got knocked down and beat up for a few rounds and then come back and just won the fight, it's a different story. But let's have a look at the scorecard here. Tim Hsu and Terrell Gausha. What? How can he have one? The fans gave it 120 to 107. Two of the judges too. Is this the right fight? No, that's Takeshi Inoue. That's why. Stupid ass. Terrell Gausha. There it is. Score. So the fans gave it 117, 110 to Tim Hsu, 116, 111 to Tim Hsu on one judge, 114, 113. Wow, I didn't think it was that close, that fight. Wow, so they've given a fair few rounds to Terrell Gausha. And a point that I heard somebody make yesterday, actually, everybody's saying that the best opponent Tim Hsu has faced is Takeshi Inoue or Tony Harrison now, but really Terrell Gausha is pretty decent. I believe he fought Charlo and lasted longer than Harrison, didn't he? Let's have a look here. Javon Clark. Here we go. I fought Erickson Lubin and it went to a decision over 12. He lost that fight. He had a draw with Austin Trout. So, even just those two, Terrell Gausha's pretty proven. Erislandy Lara, he went the distance with Erislandy Lara as well to Terrell Gausha. So, I don't know. I'm not going to argue about who the best fighter Tim Hsu has fought is, but Terrell Gausha is right up there. But don't forget, like I say, Takeshi Inoue as well. Now he's got Tony Harrison on his record, this Tim Hsu. There's also Dennis Hogan. He freaking obliterated Dennis Hogan, who's fought up at 160 as well. He blew him away in 5 rounds. So Tim Hsu, to me, is easily the best son of a legend in boxing. Doesn't matter what other son of a legend you look at in boxing. Tim Hsu is levels above these dudes. But as for proving, I think he's proven now that he's actually the real deal at 154. I would, after this performance, I would pick him to beat the snot and stop. What's that tall gangly dude's name? You all know who I'm talking about. Sebastian Fondora. I think he'd beat the snot out of him and stop him. I think Jamal Charlo is the only one who could potentially beat him, being a boxer puncher, because the pressure game isn't going to work quite as well against Jamal Charlo, because Jamal can punch, whereas Tony Harrison's punch is pretty light, really. He works behind the jab, and in this fight in particular, he didn't really have anything else. He was hoping he could deter Tim Hsu with the jab, but the kind of pressure Tim Hsu applies is mainly with his feet. He gets in the right range and leans back, and his reactions are pretty good. The first round he was eating a lot of jabs. I gave the first round to Tony Harrison, and I think it was the fourth was pretty close. I gave it to Harrison but it could have gone either way. Yeah, the punch selection from Tim Hsu was pretty good too. I would have liked to have seen a bit more of a jab, but because he was in with a guy who jabs a lot, he was trying to use that slip and counter, using the jab as his trigger, using Tony Harrison's jab as his trigger, coming over the top with that right hand, but he was getting a left uppercut into the body quite a lot, and Tony just was not seeing it coming. It was real sneaky. So I think Tim Hsu's definitely proven he's the real deal. I hope he gets that Charlo fight next, but I'm still a little bit skeptical because Charlo's been out of the ring for a while. Now he's been injured. He's going to want some kind of tune-up fight on the way back. It may end up that Charlo might even vacate the belt after sitting there, because he was on the Showtime commentary team sitting there watching the fight. He should be feeling a bit nervous because this Tim Hsu, he's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem. I hope Tim Hsu smokes Charlo, says Joseph. Well, that'd be a hell of a shock to a lot of people. But, you know, I think either guy could win that fight. I think either guy could stop each other. But honestly, I think Hsu's got more of a chance of stopping Charlo than Charlo stopping Hsu. Hsu seems to really have a hell of a chin. And he has that killer instinct, whereas I'm not sure Charlo really does have the killer instinct. At times, against Brian Castano, he was getting himself up against the ropes and hanging out there. That's not the sort of shit you should be doing against a pressure fighter. If you're a boxer puncher, you want to keep moving, keep him at the end of your range, and you know, do the damage from range. Don't be languishing on the ropes, exposing yourself to body shots. I think Tim Hsu hits a little bit hard, well, even substantially harder than Brian Castano. So if Charlo hangs around on the ropes and lets Tim go to work, that's going to pay dividends for Tim Hsu later on in the fight. But Tim Hsu, if he becomes undisputed champion at 154, that's 2 generations of undisputed champions in the family, isn't it? Because Tim Hsu was Costa Hsu was undisputed after he beat Zab Judah, wasn't he? Or was that lighter weight? I think it was at 147 or 140 actually, wasn't it? Somewhere there. I can't even remember. I'm too old to remember that far back. But yeah, Tim Hsu has definitely put himself on the radar. I don't think many Americans anymore will be looking past and disregarding him, as they seem to have been ever since he's become Mando to Jamal Charlo. People they've been brushing it off. Tim Hsu's just a hype job. He's using his dad's name and blah blah blah. He's actually got some pretty good wins on his record now. Tim Hsu will give Jamal a fight. Well, damn right about that. He won't be coming to lose. He won't be coming there just to make up numbers and take a paycheck. He's got ambitions. You keep hearing Tim say that he wants to be known as Tim Hsu, not as the son of Costa Hsu. Hey. Bit off topic, bro, but my news on our fighters, Hemi Junior Far fighting. Hemi actually had a fight a few weeks ago. It wasn't televised and it wasn't promoted. He fought some bum that he knocked out in the first round. Let me have a quick look. Hemi Ahio, box trick. Yeah, I was real disappointed in the effort that Hemi put in against Django Apilu. So yeah, Hemi had a fight on the 4th of February. The guy he fought was called Richie Stanley. Don't know who the dude was, and for good reason, because he was 0-3. It was at the ABA Stadium in Auckland. It was a scheduled 4-round fight, and like I say, he smashed him over in the first round. So it was what it was. But as for Junior Fowl, I haven't heard shit about that dude since he got stopped. The Techophobe is in the house, jumping on live on YouTube. How are you doing, man?
Hey, matey, how's it going?
Not too bad. So you were there watching that Yoka and Takam fight with us. You want to give us your take on how you think it went and what the problem was for Tony Yoka?
Thank you for asking me, Jono. I think Takam won quite convincingly. Yoka didn't bring his balls with him.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Just not enough offense from him. Too worried about getting hit, I think.
Yeah. Do you think it's all over? Do you think he needs to hang him up?
He needs to get back to... He's got nice long arms, and he's tall, and he is athletic. Why doesn't he... He could have maybe tried to win that fight from jabbing it.
Yeah, he just didn't seem to be able to get any respect from Takam. And even when he was dropping and landing a right hand behind the jab now and then, it just didn't do nothing. So
Takam's having a golden summer, a golden autumn.
Yeah, well, like I was saying earlier, he's definitely earned himself another payday or two, hasn't he? So big ups to Takam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think Yoka's still got some to give, but he needs to go back to the drawing. Maybe visit to Kronk, maybe?
Yeah, I think get rid of Virgil Hunter. I don't think it's doing him any good. But yeah, Kronk would be a good investment, I reckon. Go and see Sugar Hill and see if you can get some work with him.
Yeah.
So the Techophobe's a weight snob. You're only interested in heavyweight, so better give your quick opinion on Johnny Fisher and this Damani dude. You saw a little bit of it, didn't you?
Only a little bit, yeah. Johnny Fisher looks big and bold and a little bit crude at the moment.
Yeah, we were having a little discussion after the fight, and I mentioned maybe he should fight Shane Gill, the guy who beat Steve Robertson. Oh, I wouldn't mind him seeing him beat Steve Robertson's face in, but what do you reckon? Who should he fight?
In terms of Brits, I'd like to see him in... I know you said perhaps he's not ready for Nathan Gorman, but maybe somebody like Kingsley eBay, Nathan Gorman...
Richard Latte even. How's that?
Oh, I think Latte's a busted
He's given
flush
up.
now.
Yeah. Yep, fair enough. Yeah, well, I wouldn't object if they made that fight with Gorman. I'd definitely watch it because I'd be interested. Gorman seems to have a bit of a block. Sometimes if he thinks he can win, he'll go balls to the wall and do really well. But if he's not sure that he can win, we see a different fighter. It's weird.
He seems to have lost his way a little bit. He had a big period of inactivity. Obviously, there's COVID, but he put on some weight. He seemed to lose his way.
Yeah, definitely. So I've just got a question from Joseph in the chat, and I'm looking into it as we speak. I haven't heard anything about Junior Far for quite some time, but I'm just going to quickly look and see if there's anything scheduled for him, but I don't think there is. I expect if he does continue boxing, he will probably fight a domestic level guy as a tune-up at the very most. Pretty demoralising how he got smacked over by old Dummy Brown. So we'll see. Junior Far Box Rick. He's still promoted by Lou DiBella, so I don't know. No, there's nothing on Box Rick. Oh, he's had a fight since then. I don't even know about that. Tusi Asafal he fought, who was 0-6. So there you go. Why bother? And he stopped them in the first round. So when was that? Was that on the same card as Hemi? Maybe, I don't know. No, it wasn't. It was on the 23rd of September last year. So yeah, shit, I didn't even hear about that. Looking forward though, and speaking of Big Dummy Brown, we've got the two drug cheats fighting this weekend in Dubai coming, don't we?
We do.
Jarrell Big Pharmacy Miller and Lucas Big Dummy Brown. So it could be an interesting fight. Normally I would say I'm picking Jarrell Miller in that fight because his volume should win the fight, but the way he looked against Ariel Bracamonte, and the resilience that Lucas Brown has shown, particularly against Django Apelu, you know, he was getting the snot beaten out of him for 5 rounds, and then he turned it on and knocked out Django. So I reckon this is a fitty fight. What do you reckon, Tekaphobe?
Exactly how I see it. I'd probably have, if it's a knockout, I'd probably favour Brown, and if it's points, I'd probably favour Miller.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly don't think Brown can win it if it goes the distance, to be honest.
In fairness, Miller's never been knocked out, has he? So
no, he has not.
He has a draw, doesn't he, on his record?
He does. Who the hell was that with?
Joey DeWaco, 19th of January 2013.
Oh, yeah, and it was only a 4-rounder. That's why.
And deducted 2 points for pushing, it says here.
Okay.
So,
I didn't see that fight. I don't think it was televised, so it'd be pretty hard to find any footage of it. And Miller and his promoter Dimitri Salita would have done their best to try and bury anything that came out about it. For sure. So yeah, they are fighting this weekend in Dubai. Let's look at the event and see what else, if anything, is on there. What have we got? Any more heavyweight fights? Featherweight. We've got a cruiserweight fight there. That could bring some interest. Oh, Brandon Glenton, the guy who David Light beat to get the mandatory spot for Lawrence Okoli, is fighting, and he's fighting a guy called Soslan Asbarov. I don't know who the hell the dude is. He's 3-0, so that could be interesting. That's a 10-round fight. Not interested in commenting on any of that there, Tekaphobe?
I'm afraid not. I don't even have your list, I'm afraid, Jono.
I'm just looking on BoxRec what's on there. But we've also got Iron Kong in the house today. How are you, bro?
Hey, peace. What's up, man? What's up to you and Technophobe? You know,
hi, mate.
Good?
Yeah, man. So you want to give your take on some fights over the weekend? Do you want to start with the Yoka v Taken fight? How did you
Yeah,
see
yeah.
that, man?
A part of me, would have liked to have seen Tony Yoka win. It's difficult to see a young fighter like that in these dire straits. Um, my thing is, I've always hated Virgil Hunter as a trainer. I don't think Virgil Hunter is a particularly good trainer. He's had, well, in my opinion, one really successful fighter, that is Andre Ward, or y'all could correct me. Other than that, everybody else has been a disaster. You have somebody like, he's also doing the same thing with Joshua Buatsi, who is turning down title shots because he doesn't seem to have the urge in him, and Hunter don't have no belief in him. He's with Tony Yoka, and instead of speaking some spirit into the man in between the rounds, he's talking to Tony Yoka like it's like a sermon. Oh, he's gonna get tired. Don't worry, he's gonna get tired. See, he spit his mouthpiece out. Just punch some more. Now you gotta tell this man, you have to fight this man. You're losing. Right?
Yeah, man. He's too calm, and it's like there's no enthusiasm, or you gotta fight. This dude's gonna beat you. You should be some of that talk.
Exactly. Tell him the truth. You are losing this fight. Don't go in there like you're reading a bedtime story to this guy. Tony Yoka is somebody that needs some aggression. I think he needs to leave Virgil Hunter, get with a proper team somewhere, and work on his craft. But it's really a shame to see a young fighter like that who had some promise. But I've never been really clear on the type of fighter that Tony Yoka is. He's not really a power puncher, but he's also not a slick boxer.
Yeah.
I don't even think he knows who he is really.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Totally caught between styles. What do you think of him maybe going and spending some time with Sugar Hill at the Kronk Gym?
I think it'll be great. I think he needs to leave Virgil Hunter. He has to go somewhere. He's a big, strong kid who needs some direction and some just clear understanding as to who he is as a fighter. He has to be in a environment like that. I don't think Virgil Hunter and him is a good match at all. I don't think so.
Yeah.
But
Totally
but
agree.
let me say to Carl about Carlos Takam. Carlos Takam, 42 years old, staying in shape, still rolling. You got to appreciate a fighter like. You have to appreciate a fighter like that.
Yeah, man. He's a warrior. Road warrior.
He's not. People used to say like he's a gatekeeper. I promise you, if you put your prospect in there with Carlos Takam, you'll be disappointed.
Yeah, well, depending how good they are, of course.
He might beat your prospect, so be very careful.
Yeah. Even at 42, I've been banging on for a while that he seems past his best, but he looked fine in there against Tony Yoka.
Yep. It's just disappointing to see a young man like that go out. But congratulations to Carlos Takam. That's my opinion on that fight.
Yeah, man. Did you see the Tim Sue and Tony Harrison fight?
Yeah. I did see. Well, I saw some of it.
Yeah.
Where it came on quite late, so got to see like the ending parts of it, and pretty much Tim Sue was just bossing the fight. I'm not sure if it's Tony was looking really flat-footed and just really slow. He hasn't fought in a while.
Yeah.
Or it was that Tim Sue was putting on a lot of pressure on him. Or it could be both.
That's about what I was going to say. I think it's a bit of both. I think Tim performed a bit better than most expected, and Tony didn't perform as well as most expected. And I think a lot of that is attributed to the...
When did Tony get to Australia? Do you know?
Actually, I don't know about when he arrived. You'd want to be there at least a week beforehand to acclimatise. It's just a big time difference.
But hey, listen, Tim Sue put a beating on this man. I thought the referee should have stopped the fight because the ending sequence was really vicious. He was beating the dog out of Tony.
Oh, he spat. I was counting on the replays how many uppercuts. It was like 6 uppercuts, then the hook, then the uppercut.
He was violating Tony Harrison. The ref just was like, "Go ahead, he's still on his feet. Go ahead, keep punching."
Yeah.
Like,
initially, I was like, oh, he's spamming that uppercut, and he goes down, and then Tony got up, and the ref called it off when he didn't like what he saw, and I was like, oh, he shouldn't have stopped it if he let him get up and took the count, but then, you know, he really should have stopped it before Tony went down, to be honest. So, yeah, I think Tim Tszew's proven himself as a real threat to Jamel Charlo at the moment, and I'm really looking forward to that fight. Any thoughts on how that might go, Kong?
Sorry about that, man. I was talking to my son. What did you say? My bad.
I think Tim Tszew's proven himself that he could be a potential threat to Jamel Charlo.
Most definitely.
Hopefully we get that fight next, and yeah, how do you think that fight might go?
Well, first off, let me say, I think Jamel Charlo should go to Australia for the fight. You know, that would be absolutely crazy. You'll make the most money in front of the biggest crowd, all that. Jamel Charlo doesn't draw anybody. PBC, Showtime, they don't have no room for Jamel Charlo.
Right? That's a good point, because down in Australia, Tim Tszew's how would I put it? He's a god down there. So the fans that will go to see it, there'll be a lot of money involved. So why not?
Exactly. So the most money is in Australia, but we already know these guys. They would, you know, cut their nose to spite their face.
Yeah.
They would take less money just to stay home. For what? I don't know. But I think it's a great fight. I can't call it yet. Jamel, in my opinion, has been out the ring. Did he get injured or something? Or was it Zoo that was injured? Was it Jamel that was injured?
Yes, Jamel injured. He had to have an operation on his elbow or something.
Right. So it's unfortunate he's been out the ring that long. But I can't call it yet. Jamel, one thing I have to say about, he's a very focused and determined guy. Like, he's very stubborn. And I don't think he'll mentally break if Tim puts the pressure on.
Yeah.
Tim needs to be careful because Jamel can hit. Tony Harrison is not a power puncher. He's a slick boxer and whatnot who depends on his legs. And his legs didn't look good in that fight. Jamel is not a slick boxer. He is the type of fighter that, you know, Tim Tszyu has to be very careful with, because he can really crack.
Yeah. Boxer puncher. You can't pressure him like he could Tony Harrison. He'll get knocked out. So we'll see what happens.
That'll be a problem for him.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to the fight. I can't call it yet. I don't think Jamel Charlo should make Tim Tszyu come to America to fight where? Last time Jamel Charlo fought for Undisputed, the stadium was half empty. I mean, really.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the attitude of these guys. They will take less, fight in front of less, just to prove a point. So
yeah,
you know, whatever.
All right, looking forward to the weekend. We've got Big Pharmacy Miller against Big Dummy Brown. How do you see that one going?
First off, let me say I'm a big supporter of Gerald Miller. You know, I think he was a tainted supplement last time. It was a setup. That's my guy. I mean, who sanctioned this fight? Where is this fight happening?
It's in Dubai. I don't. There might not even be drug testing, so they might both be back on the juice for this one. Who knows?
Well, shit. Well, we'll see the best of both then.
Yeah. I'm just looking. Commission. Where's the commission?
I don't know. I mean, I think Lucas Brown one day is gonna get badly hurt in the ring. He's riding high off of that Junior Fa win, but I don't know Lucas Brown's financial position in his life. But if he's doing this for money, this is the wrong sport to do this for.
Yeah.
This is really the wrong sport, and he should be very careful. I got Jarrell Miller by whatever he wants. But Lucas Brown needs to be careful as to what he's doing and why he's doing it. This is a really dangerous sport. So all the best to him. Godspeed.
Yeah. From what he says in his interviews and whatnot, Lucas Brown, to me, seems like that's exactly what he's doing it for, is for money. And getting that knockout over Junior Farr, pretty much like Carlos Takam was giving him another payday or two. But I think Jarrell Miller doesn't have the power to do too much damage to Lucas Brown. But in saying that, Lucas Brown has been sparkoed a couple of times. He's taken a hell of a beating in a few fights. Even that fight he won against Faenga Apilu, he was getting smashed to bits before Apilu gassed, and Brown managed to get the stoppage. So I don't know how much more is he going to take. Hopefully he knows where to draw the line before he ends up permanently brain damaged or something. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Jono, might I interject on behalf of Big Daddy?
Go for it.
I guess trying to look at it objectively, he's got 3 losses on his record. He's had a lot of fights, and I agree he takes some damage in them. But he's, there are journeymen suffering defeats all the time who are taking damage. I guess I don't think he's got that much. And I felt it was grossly unfair how he wasn't allowed to fight by the British Board of Control. Carlos Takam's the same age, isn't he?
Roundabout, yep.
And he's just fought Makhmudov, and in my opinion fared very well there. And then just had a splendid win against Joker. I guess I feel the same should apply for everybody. Takam took some damage from Joshua. He took some damage from Chisora. It's boxing, so
he got absolutely sparkoed from Chisora, didn't he? So, I guess when you compare them, Lucas Brown hasn't really taken as much damage as potentially a Derek Chisora, and he's still getting sanctioned.
For huge fights with dangerous men who can bang.
Exactly. So maybe you got a point.
I think that's fair. That's fair.
Good point, Tickaphobe. Never thought of it like that. I guess when we look at that knockout that Dillian White got over Lucas Brown, that was a horrible knockout, and he looked like he might have been brain damaged after that, but he came through it okay. So I guess it's just a flashback that everyone seems to look back at. But then when you look at...
Yeah, I think that's it. I think maybe the Dillian White fight stuck with me a lot because that was one of the nastier things I've seen in boxing for a while, like recently. But I think Technophobe made a great point, and that's fair. Fair.
Yep, agreed. Well done. All right, so I haven't really looked into the schedule ahead, but I know Techophobe has a list of heavyweights that are happening, and there's a couple of fights next weekend, isn't there? You want to let us know there, Techophobe?
Well, just some things that I've found by scrabbling about. So this coming weekend, we've got, as you say, Big Daddy Brown versus Jarrell Big Pharmacy Miller. And I think we got Solomon Dakers versus Ismay. Somebody will have to help me with his first name, but a British fight there. Solomon Dakers, Olympic medal winner.
What medal did he win? Actually, I can't remember off the top of my head. Do you know?
I do not know. I'm afraid I over to you on that.
Okay, I can't remember either.
I'll try.
You don't remember, do you, Con? Solomon Dakers, Olympian.
You're asking me who Solomon is fighting?
No, he's fighting Ben Ismay, but he was an Olympian and he won a medal. Apparently, I can't remember what medal he won. Solomon Dakers.
So he is 29 and 6'5", orthodox, fighting Robert Ismay, who is an 11-0 prospect of a 35-year-old.
Yeah, I've seen Ismay in action before, and he's decent. I've watched Dakers a couple of times, and he seems to be lacking a bit of power, but his boxing skill seems reasonable. But it could be a pretty decent fight, I think. How you think it's going to go, Tekaphobe?
I don't know enough about this Ismay guy, really. Looking at his record, he's got a guy called Josh Sandland I recognise. But otherwise, I think his 11 wins with 4 KOs are probably not going to be the best guys. I don't want to lead anybody astray. I guess I really rate Solomon Dakers. I think he's on the way to some decent things.
Well, he's only early in his career, and he's been match made. I thought this guy he was fighting was somebody else potentially. Robert Ismay. I'm thinking of a Ben Ismay. I'm sure I've seen a Ben Ismay somewhere before. That's a different guy. But I'm just looking at BoxRec now, and this is for the British Board of Boxing Control English heavyweight title. So there's a trinket on the line for this. Could be interesting. You got any comment on that fight there, Kong?
I know nothing about this Ismay person, so I'm not going to lie to the people about that. Dakers, however, I'm not sure about Sal yet, because I don't know what kind of fighter he's trying to be. He doesn't appear to be a guy with big power like that, or he just doesn't sit down on his punches. I'm not sure if he's 6-something. He can't be really a slick boxer like that, because nobody really wants to see that. You know what I mean? I'm just not sure what Solomon is trying to be. You know, he has a kind of a cardboard style. It's serviceable. It's fine. I'm just trying to. I'm looking at more from Sal. I want to see a lot more from him in terms of his aggression and his want to finish people. Like when he was fighting Sokolowski, he beat Sokolowski, pretty handily. But did he fight Sokolowski? I'm sure he did. Or was that somebody?
He did. He's got a win against Sokolowski back in September.
Right. I just remember saying, like, he seems like he can do so much more, but he's just not like applying himself like that. So I'm not quite, I don't know who Solomon Dakers is trying to be, and I'm hoping to see more from him in this fight against whoever this Ismay person is. So that's just me.
Yeah, he's another one kind of like Yoka that seems to be lost for what identity he's trying to follow, but he's got the 5 wins and only 1 knockout to date. For a bigger guy and someone who has ambitions, you got to try to get these lower level guys out of there, eh? Otherwise, you're not going to get the attention that's going to pay the bills. So,
exactly. I mean, you have to allow your promotional team to at least put together a highlight video of you to put on the big screen. Like, what's the Solomon Dakers highlight that right now?
Yeah. Yeah, decision. He's got the 1 stoppage in the 4th round against Alvaro Torino. Okay, it was 5-11, so that doesn't scream nothing. You ain't going to get no highlight reel out of that. So, interesting. We'll see how he goes. Have we got a network? What's this event going to be on? Do we get to see it? Yep, it's televised. It's going to be on the Zone. So, there you go. Was there any more that you're looking forward to for the heavies this weekend, Tekaphobe?
We've got a fight, 2 people I've not heard of. Perhaps you've mentioned them. I'm sorry. I think it's a Frenchman, Barriere versus Atakashiev.
Okay, never heard of them, mate. I wouldn't know that one.
We got on the 23rd. I don't know where it's going to be, but I've got Simon Keem versus Eric Molina on the 23rd of March.
Oh, okay.
Next, Simon Apilo versus Turetsky on the 25th next week.
Okay, Simon Apilo. Okay.
Isn't it? Sorry, Figo Apilo, isn't it?
Oh, Fainga.
I know it's a tough one to spell.
Yeah, his nickname's Django. It's easier to say.
Oh, okay.
Simon Keane, though, I want to look into that one because He's an interesting kind of guy. He comes to win, but he's the guy. He's either going to knock someone out or he's going to get knocked out. Fun to watch.
What do you think about him versus that? Is it Lazaridis, that Greek guy? Yeah. And going back to a good opponent for Jonathan Fisher, what do you think about a comeback fight for Dave Allen? He's been to a higher level, but he must be very rusty by now.
That could be a good dust-up. Johnny Fisher and Dave Allen. I don't know if Dave Allen wants to fight anybody that can actually punch anymore, though.
Is that Gill bloke, Shane Gill? Is he the Scots guy comes in with all in blue woad and everything?
I can't remember. I know he's a chubby kind of guy. I saw him fight Steve Robinson. That's the only time I've seen him.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's Scottish or not, but he certainly comes to fight and he's entertaining for sure.
Okay.
So I've just looked up this Simon Keane and Eric Molina fight. It's definitely happening. I'm surprised Molina's still fighting, actually. I thought he'd retired, but
I thought it had been announced.
Yeah, it's gonna be in Canada. It doesn't have a media outlet at this point, but I'd imagine it'll be either on DAZN or on was it ESPN? The other one. They've got two hookups for the two major promoters in Canada nowadays. So I think Simon Keane should get Eric Molina out of there within sort of 4 rounds. But the fight itself is for the WBA International. Oh no, that's the main event for the card. That's something else. Where is it? There it is. It's a 10-rounder, nothing on the line. So yeah, I'd expect him to get Eric Molina out of there within 4, but you just got to be careful with Eric Molina. He's sneaky with that overhand right. You know, he's covering up like he doesn't want to fight anymore, and then he pops one in there. He got Thomas Ademic with it years ago, and he's been living off that for years. Well, yeah. How do you think it's going to go, Tekaphobe?
I'm really sorry. I've been looking for Solomon Dacre's Olympic career. I really can't find stuff. So maybe I've misspoken and misled people. I'm not finding anything about him.
Okay.
What was the question, please, Jono? I'm so sorry.
Simon Keane and Eric Molina. How do you think the fight's going to go?
You know what? Both of those guys, I think, have got a little bit glass-chinned. And I think of the way that Babic and Molina fought quite not too long ago. Either he hasn't got as much power as he looks like he has. He's a big guy, Molina, and he caught Babic again and again, 1-2, 1-2, and it hardly stopped him coming.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got Keane in that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the fact that once Eric Molina gets hit with a decent shot too, he doesn't want to play anymore. He quite often turns his back, or
Keane by stoppage.
Yeah. Keane by stoppage. I'd even pick a round in that one and say round 2 myself. Because I think Simon Keane, he's got enough power to make Molina want to quit again like he usually does. I think once he gets hit with something, it's going to be cover up and then turn his back or something like that.
I'd take over 2 if you gave me over 2.
Yeah. Got any thoughts on that one, Kyle?
On Eric Molina?
Eric Molina and Simon Keane.
Just like you, I'm absolutely aghast that Eric Molina is still fighting. Yeah. My previous comment about Lucas Brown, put that to Eric Molina. Sir, you need to be very careful. You because the last few times that Eric Molina fight, it's like he just kind of came for a check, and he just laid down, and that's it. Like if like that same little overhand, if that doesn't land, he's like, oh well, I'll just take a few punches and lay down.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not interested in anything Eric Molina. Nothing, Eric Molina. When you're done, I got a couple questions to ask you, Jono and Technophobe, because y'all seem to be y'all are the people from that side, I guess. So
Yeah, go for it, man. Might as well shoot now.
what's y'all opinions? Because I haven't spoken to you since this happened on Justice Hooney signing for Matchroom, and I'm seeing rumors of Dempsey McKean trying to fight Joseph Parker down that way. What's y'all opinions on that?
Well, Justice Hooney signing with Matchroom, probably a good move for Justice, but when it comes to world level, I'm not convinced Justice Hooney's going to go too far. He doesn't seem to have enough power to trouble, decent level guys. He's got really fast hands, good foot movement, but he tends to get injured quite a lot as well. He's having problems with his hands. He's such a young fighter. It's a real pity that his team pushed him too hard and he got injured and couldn't make the Olympics. But his last fight was Kiki Tolatali from New Zealand. I thought that was a pretty decent fight. And Kiki's not exactly world level. You know, he gave Dempsey McKean fits as well. But yeah, I think the signing of him, the zone are trying to break into Australia a lot more. They still haven't had their inaugural show down there, have they? So we'll see what happens with Justice. And Dempsey McKean trying to fight Joseph Parker. Let's get it. Why not? I mean, I think Parker's past his best and seems to have lost some ambition or hunger. Whatever, however you want to look at it, he's not the fighter he was when he was on the come up. But Dempsey McKean, I don't rate him very highly anyway. I think Joseph Parker is still how he is, will probably knock him out. But I don't know. Dempsey McKean's a clumsy mess for me. But way you go, Techophobe. What do you think about those two questions?
I think you summed it up beautifully, Jono, about the Justice Hooney. I think he just hasn't got enough power, and he does seem to have problems with his hands and things. So I think you summed that one up. Dempsey McKean, I saw him fight Jonathan Rice as well.
Yeah. And that was the defensive Rice too, wasn't it? The back foot Rice, not the aggressive one.
Yeah. I think Rice has improved. I haven't seen enough of McKean to sort of know. He looked very tall, and he's a southpaw, isn't he?
Yeah.
Him versus Parker. Mate, are we being a little too quick to write off the 31-year-old Parker?
Yeah, 31, I think.
I know he's been around a while, but he's got a lot of experience. He's won almost all of his fights, and he's normally until he fought. He got knocked down by Derek Chisora at the back of the head. And the ref ruled a slip in the first round. Do you remember?
No, it was a knockdown, wasn't it? I think they called it a knockdown.
Did he? Okay. Well, there was protestations. It might have been a slip, but to me, it looked like a knockdown from the back of the head blow. I'm sorry if I got it wrong again.
No, you got it.
So, until then, I thought Parker looked pretty. He was always out of trouble. He perhaps didn't commit enough, but he never looked sort of in danger or worried or bothered. And McKean didn't look worried by Rice. I thought Rice almost won that fight.
Yeah, Kiki Tolatali nearly got him too. He was lucky to get out of that fight alive.
So I'd have to back Parker. Iron.
Fair enough.
I had a conversation with someone about Dempsey McKean, because they were trying to convince me that The reason why Eddie didn't put AJ in there with Dempsey McKean because he's a southpaw. I was like, you think losing to Usyk is means Dempsey McKean because he's a southpaw, because they both use the same hand as a power hand, means Dempsey McKean will beat Anthony Joshua. I said, y'all really have to understand. Usyk beat Joshua. Dempsey McKean would get cleaned out by Anthony Joshua. Please. Yeah. So, I was hoping to see more of him from. I know he signed with Eddie. They had the one fight down there, and he fought some crazy, I think it was a German guy. It was a really slap fest fight, and I was just like, man, this Dempsey McKean guy, he's not like he's not that good, but he's all right. I agree with Technophobe, or was it you, Jono, that says Joseph Parker should still have enough for Dempsey McKean. Then again, I thought that about Junior Farr. Remember how it looked. Yeah. So you're never quite sure which Joseph Parker you're going to get. Yeah. The truth is, when he fought Joe Joyce, right? Even though Joyce won, Parker was landing some hellacious punches on Joe Joyce. I mean, big punches.
Yeah, he was standing and stepping right into that right hand a lot, wasn't he?
Yep. So I'm not sure which Parker we're going to get, but if we get an aggressive Joseph Parker, he should beat up Dempsey McKean. That's okay, Yeah. But that's a nice fight for that part of the world. I think Justice Hooney. I was going to ask you guys also. Y'all are not too high on his abilities or maybe his ceiling, but would it serve him better to leave? Where he leave? Is he from Australia or New Zealand?
Dempsey or
no, I mean Justice.
Oh, Justice. Yeah, he's definitely from Australia, Tongan heritage though.
Would it serve him better to leave Australia because maybe there's not enough heavyweight trainers there, or good enough because Parker had to leave? Had to leave New Zealand. Do you think leaving his home and getting into a team elsewhere would serve him better?
I'm not sure who the coach is, but I do know him and Jai Opataya are coached by the same guy. And both of them, Jai Opataya has definitely shown he can kick it at the top of the cruiserweight division. He's got a belt now, doesn't he? So I'm not sure who the coach is, but I definitely think some overseas experience may help Justice Hooney for sure. I do think he's got a pretty big family and he's pretty family orientated, so maybe going to train before fights overseas would suit him better than leaving altogether, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it's an interesting question that I don't know too much about Justice Hooney outside of the ring, and I think that would definitely influence the decision on whether he should leave his home country to concentrate on his career or not. Got any thoughts also, there? Oh, so where you go?
Also, let me add in this one. What happened to David Naika? Is he still fighting?
Yeah, he was on that undercard where Himihio got beat.
He's just gone quiet though. Like I thought more from him. Like he's just gone quiet.
Yeah, I think he's trying to get under the Lou DiBella promotional banner, but I'm not sure if he's having any luck. Let me have a quick look. David Naika.
But anyway, yeah. So that's just my two. Y'all could go ahead and cook on that. Techno, about Justice Hooney leaving. Anything on that?
I guess, like John, I mean, he's said everything really, but I don't know the guy. So if I were a boxer in his position, I probably would move. Yeah, everybody in the heavyweight, I suppose, the States and the UK. I guess just the Mark Tibbs or I don't know who'd be good for him. I don't know much about trainers. You guys seem to know an awful lot about trainers, so we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, he seems to have pretty good selection of punches, good speed, good footwork. All that. He needs somebody that needs to help develop his power somewhat. But then again, if he's going to throw harder power shots, is his hands going to be a problem at the same time? So, is it getting to the point where he needs to take a year or two off to properly heal his hands and get it all sorted out? It's just
hands?
Yeah, he broke his hand in his last fight, and it was hand injuries that stopped him going to the Olympics. But to be fair, his team pushed him to do some more pro fights too close to the Olympics, and he paid the price. So, is that early in his career, having problems with your hands is a real problem. So, he really needs to get it sorted out, or get some steel bones put in his hands or something.
It's a tough one. I'm just going back to what you mentioned before, Ian, about Big Daddy. I don't know him personally or anything, but I know that he's had some financial problems and personal problems. So I think he's looking to try, while he's still got some time left in the sport, he's trying to bank some money. He doesn't maybe have too much other stuff to turn to.
Okay, understood.
And
Look, this is how
you're so right about Takam. You're so right about Takam and his training program and his physique. He's in absolutely phenomenal form. He is a different 42-year-old from some.
Yeah, from most 42-year-olds. Far out. He's a machine.
Hell, I'm 42 and I'm a fat mess. But anyway, look. Look, just hey, thanks for having me on, man. It's always good to hear about boxing someplace else. I was about the David Naika kid though. The reason why I asked, because I saw him fight amateurs a few times.
Yeah.
I saw him on Eddie Hearn's show. I was like, yo, this kid, might do something. And I remember he was I think he was in the camp with Tyson Fury and them, and then he kind of disappeared. But I always thought like he might do well, but he just kind of went quiet and whatnot. And I'm really looking forward to hearing more from him in terms of Justice Hooney and who he should have. If he has hand problems already, then I don't know what to say, because the people who he's going to fight are people that can take punches, very stout people. I don't know what to say about it, honestly. I don't know his situation back home and if he even can leave. Like I remember Jono had to tell me about Junior Fa, who has, I think, a special needs child.
Yeah.
So these guys can't leave. It's not that easy for everybody. And, I've seen him fight a few times. Looks a bit promising, but I just think, like Parker, sometimes these guys have ability but are missing just some. Like if you watch Joseph Parker fight, he looks like he's on, but there's something missing.
Well, he's never able to put it all together properly or something.
Yes.
It's just something not quite right.
For instance, watch the Anthony Joshua fight. He's in the fight, and then after a while, it's like he just switches to cruise control and turns into a sparring match.
Yeah.
I hated that fight.
Yeah.
Because
I refuse to go and rewatch it. I hate it myself too.
So there always seems to be something missing with Joseph Parker, but you could see he's fast and he's talented, but it just never quite connects. But that's it from me. I want y'all, to have a great day, man. Peace.
Appreciate really you dropping by, man. Just before you go, I'm going to touch on Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk if you wanted to put a 2 cents in on that, but if not, it's all good.
It's fine. I think Tyson Fury... I don't think Tyson Fury actually would have preferred this fight. I remember it came out that when Joshua had lost to Usyk the first time, and there was a conversation if Joshua should take a step aside fight, whatnot. And the deal was supposed to be he'll step aside if Fury fights Usyk straight away. And Fury said no, he wants a tune-up fight before he fights Usyk. And that's where this big fallout came. Because Joshua said, well, no, he wants a shot right away because I guess he didn't trust Fury to actually fight this man because he wants a shot.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury doing all of this, scuttling whatever fight in Saudi Arabia, so Usyk wouldn't get this amount of money, and neither him, taking it to England, and then it's all this back and forth and all this other stuff until he finally pops his head up after all the criticism and says, 70-30, take it or leave it. All of those things to me are really disappointing because I think Tyson Fury can actually fight, but just his whole vibe, his attitude is just so poor that I just can't support the guy.
Yep. Fair enough, man. All right, well, we'll let you go, Kong. Won't hold you up anymore.
Kong,
yeah.
Kong,
well, what you go?
Kong. Sorry, John. I just must say, Kong, first time I've spoken to you, so nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you, man.
You want to give your 2 cents first there, Techphobe, on the situation?
With Fury and Usyk?
Yeah.
It seems none of us know everything that goes on behind the scenes, but it seems scandalous that Fury won't either say no, I won't fight you, or he will fight. Usyk seems to have bent over backwards to offer everything. What goes on in the media, maybe they're trying to hype the fight up, and maybe it's all been arranged, perhaps.
Quite possibly. So my take, look, I dropped a video a couple of days ago about what my quick thoughts on what happens, and the comment section has pretty much blown up in there, and there's quite a few interesting comments. But one that stuck out for me was a guy said, when Tyson Fury started out, I had some respect for him. Then when he fought Klitschko and took the belts off him in Germany, I had massive respect for him. And then he went into his depression, but he came back out of depression, fought Wilder off the couch and so on and so forth, and my respect went through the roof for him. But then when he turns around and does this sort of thing with a guy that nobody hates, not one person has a bad thing to say about Alexander Usyk, he shows how greedy he is. I've lost all respect for him, and so have a lot of fans. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean that I don't think Tyson Fury is a good boxer, but his ego, to me, has just gotten out of control. Now, there is a possible positive side, people will pay to watch a villain get knocked out, and if he's now the villain, people might still buy his fights. But some of the sycophants from Tyson Fury, they are so irritating. What happens if he beats Usyk and AJ and Hergovic? Are you going to call him the greatest heavyweight ever then? Sort of comments. And I'm like, well, all I'm seeing is a prick, a greedy prick outside of the ring who has been targeting people who have a pay-per-view record, like Dillian White, who has a decent fan base, like Derek Chisora, who has a really good fan base, like Deontay Wilder, who has a sicker fan base as well. But he's been fighting these guys to utilize their fan base to put money in his pocket and claim that he's a massive draw. But really, I don't think Tyson Fury is a massive draw. So justifying the 70% cut against a 3-belt unified champion that in all reality everybody knows because he beat Joshua twice, he got massive exposure. I think it's just immoral and sad that Usyk had to take the fact that he's getting ripped off just to get this fight for his legacy. So
I'd agree so much with you, Jono. Why is Usyk's belt? Why are Usyk's belts worse than Tyson's? He's got one, hasn't he? What Usyk's won everything on his route here. As I said on your channel, he's won everything. Olympics, the weight division below. He's lost nothing. He's failed no. He's missed no drug tests. He's won everything fair and square all the way up to here, and he deserves a shot at the unified title more than anybody else.
Yeah. But you get these Fury fans that jump in comment sections and say, well, how does Usyk deserve 50-50? Because what's he done at heavyweight? He's fought Chaz Witherspoon. He went
Derek
life and
Chisora.
death. Yeah, he went life and death with Derek Chisora, which I don't think it was life and death. It was a good fight, but not life and death. Then they say he went life and death with Anthony Joshua twice. I don't think it was life and death either. He won convincingly both times. You know, they twist these facts to suit their narrative to try and bring Usyk down, when in all reality, the more they bring down Usyk, if Tyson Fury beats him, well, he's a blown up middleweight who's done nothing at heavyweight anyway. They've wrecked Tyson Fury's credit by bringing him down. You know? It's stupid. Where you go, Con?
Go ahead, sorry.
Where you go, mate?
Oh, me? Oh. So, no, it's just, I think Techno said it best. Usyk is, in my opinion, an infinitely more accomplished fighter than Tyson Fury. He's pretty much done everything you want to do. Former undisputed, gold medalist, all of this stuff. Amateur record out of this world, hundreds of fights, you know. But it just goes, like, for instance, if we're talking about splits. You see, I still remember when people like Anthony Joshua and them were still undefeated. Tyson Fury comes back, fights two barmen, two shepherds from someplace wherever, Seferi and Pianetto. He fights these two, and then they offer him to fight with Anthony Joshua at 60-40, and he says it's disrespectful. Him and Frank Warren, it's a derisive offer. It should be 50-50. I'm like, what? And they wouldn't fight Anthony Joshua. Oh, just dismiss it. And then he goes to fight Wilder for less money. He beats Wilder. And then all of a sudden, now all people are telling, I'm like, but this man, he challenges Anthony Joshua again, I think it was December, for 60-40. Joshua says yes. And then he finds a way around him. And then he says he's going to fight Chisora, and then straight after Usyk, and then it has to be all of this other stuff. I think it's unfair that Usyk had to give up what, in my opinion, he deserved in Saudi Arabia. He deserved that big paycheck. He deserved it.
Yeah.
And because of greed, from what I understand from the whole chatter, Tyson Fury just wanted too much. Whatever Joshua got, he wanted more than that.
And there's nothing to justify it.
And it's like, they were like, well, no. So it's like this weird competition he has with other people, and not just you know, being himself. It has to be a competition with him and someone else.
Yep.
And I don't like that. Usyk, you know, I support Joshua, but he beat Joshua twice. I don't dislike the man. The man is genuinely one of the top fighters of the generation. And to see that he had to do all of this just to get a fight, come online and say, oh, I accept 70-30. A 70-30 split. And early on, Frank Warren is on radio saying it's an easy fight to make, it's 50-50, and the fight's made. And Tyson Fury would not budge off of that. His promoter is saying it's a 50-50 fight. 50-50 split, and it's easy to make.
Yeah.
And now, you know, it had to go through. I don't like this kind of behavior. I don't like it. You know, but that's where we are. Hopefully the fight happens. It looks like it's gonna happen. I hope Usyk beats this man, because his fans will be just absolutely unbearable.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, whatever. But it'll be a good fight to me. I would pick Tyson Fury to win, but I would hope Usyk would win, to be honest. Thank y'all for having me on. Nice talking to you, Technophobe. Jono, you take it easy. Y'all have a great day, man.
All right, man. Peace, Kong. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, it is pretty sad, and you know, like Kong was saying, it's looking like we're gonna get the fight. The WBA have said that they're gonna give them I don't quote me. I think they said like 7 days to get the contract signed and whatnot because they've agreed. But I'm still not going to hold my breath, to be honest. I mean, when Tyson Fury finds out that even at Wembley with a 70% cut, he's still going to make a hell of a lot less than he would have made in Saudi Arabia. Maybe he's going to get a training injury. Maybe he's going to say something about Usyk hasn't come to the party with something in the contract, or, you know. The reality is, nobody has ever had issues with negotiating with Alexander Usyk in the past. He's had to jump through hoops and take a major pay cut just to get this fight. So if it doesn't happen, the blame will firmly be on Tyson Fury. And like I've also said in the past, Tyson Fury is really hard to negotiate with because his ego, as far as he's concerned, entitles him to things that he's literally not really entitled to, not justifiably anyway. So yeah, he's a slimy prick, and I hope Usyk beats him, but I'll probably still be picking Fury to beat him. I don't think it'll be a stoppage, but wait until the fight's made and we get further down the track, and I'll give you my real opinion. Because like I say, I'm not holding my breath. What about you, Tekaphobe? You holding your breath?
You know, I just agree again with you. I'm not holding my breath. I would add this to the life and death argument that we heard here. I'm not sort of picking sides with fans, but if some fans are saying that Usyk went life and death with Chisora and Joshua, then tell me what Tyson Fury did against Steve Cunningham, John McDermott, Wilder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, you know, Fury's fights haven't been the best. In addition to what we heard those two names just now from Iron Kong, but he's fought, in addition to fighting those guys, you know, Wilder 3 times, and talking about a fourth, he's fought Chisora 3 times, Dillian White, you know, he hasn't, and John McDermott twice. He's, you know, he seems not to he's got some impressive big wins on his record. But a few soft ones as well.
Yeah, well, in all reality, and most people are in agreement, that John McDermott beat him. If it wasn't for Terry O'Connor being the one score in that fight, then he would have lost that fight. But yeah, he scraped through on a lot of occasions against fighters that aren't supposed to be world level. So, you know, these fans, they pick out the good points and they disregard the bad, and then they pick out particular subjects to try and down Fury's opponents, including past opponents like Wilder, like Otto Wallen, like even Steve Cunningham, you know. So I'm not buying any of the shit that I get in the comments of videos. I pretty much laugh at them most of the time because I know that the Fury sycophants. It's quite sickening. There's fans of Wilders that are like that, and there's even fans of Joshua's that are like that as well. I'm not saying all of them, but
I have Usyk.
You have Usyk winning on points.
I just have him, but I expect a points win from Usyk. Yeah,
it's certainly a possibility.
That's bold.
I'd like to back you up, but I'm not quite so sure myself. I mean, like I keep saying, just because I don't like Tyson Fury outside of the ring, it doesn't mean I don't appreciate what boxing skill he has and how he manages to find a way in the ring, even when he doesn't look good. But we'll get further down the track when it's made, and I'll give a more in-depth opinion of mine. So yeah, I think that's probably about us for today. I'll just quickly scroll through here. Usyk has to be able has to win a lot of early rounds. Well, I think the later rounds are probably where Usyk's going to be stronger, to be honest. The earlier rounds, Tyson will be able to use his footwork and try and keep it a bit longer. I can imagine Usyk's going to try and make Tyson wear down a bit and pour it on a lot more in the second half of the fight. But in saying that, Usyk's going to be considerably faster than Tyson Fury. You're not going to hear me say that very often about people being quicker than Fury, because he's pretty quick. I think Usyk's feet are faster. He throws a lot more punches. There's a lot of advantages that Usyk has that people just disregard. So yeah, I think it's really going to be an interesting fight. A lot more interesting than people think, possibly. So just because Tyson's got 6 inches height and what's the reach advantage? Is it about 8 inches, 9 inches, something like that? It doesn't mean he's going to win. We shall see.
Yeah. Just to add 2 more points, Jono. Usyk is a southpaw, but that has helped him against most of his opponents. But it won't help him against Fury, because Fury's very adept at changing himself when he needs to. So that's a little to take a little bit off Usyk. And they're both very awkward, so I don't know how that will work out. You know, that they're both irregular in their movements and patterns that they do. So it might clash. It might be horrible and ugly to watch. I don't know.
Exactly. We need to see it so we can find out. And we need to see Undisputed at heavyweight. It's been 24 years since Lennox Lewis was the Undisputed Champion in 1999. We need to see the shizzle. So big ups to Usyk for making the sacrifices to get the fight. A big up yours to the Gypsy King for making it as difficult as possible. Let's hope that this fight gets made and we get to see it April 29th at Wembley Stadium. Some encouraging sights to see as both guys are showing training videos. They've started training camp, but in all reality they should have already been ticking over anyway. It's only like 6 weeks to go until the fight, if it's going to get made, and we will find out in the next week or so. So everybody cross your fingers, cross your eyes, cross your toes, cross your nuts, and cross everything else that you can possibly cross that we get this fight. And that's about us for today. Any final words before we take off there, Tekaphobe?
None, mate. Just thank you for having me on. I stumbled in here by accident. I'm sorry.
It's all good, man. Appreciate you dropping in, and you did well for your first live. Not too nervous. Good stuff.
Take care, bud.
All right. Take care, everybody, as well in the chat. Thanks for dropping by, and we'll catch you all next time. I'll be back later on in the week with more of a preview of what's happening in the weekend to come. So catch you all next time. All right, team. That's all we have for you today. Hope you've enjoyed. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, hit subscribe, and that bell icon for future notifications so you don't miss nothing. Also, get over to the Big Boys Boxing Discord server. The invite link is in the description. There's lots of things you can find there, like fight links, boxing chat, prediction leagues, fight streams, and fight parties. So get into it. I'm Jono from Big Boys Boxing, and I'm out. See you.